Hello, and welcome, Africa Week. It is day 1. We're doing it. We're doing it, and this is our very first talking about food show in our We Are Africa Rising reunion event for this week. I am so blessed. Let me tell you, I feel so blessed and I'm so excited because we are talking to Fatou, and I hope I say your last name right. Ouattara. Ouattara. Yep. From Akadi right here in PDX. This is one of the best restaurants in PDX. If you ever see me eating online during one of our reunions, it's usually food from Akadi. Oh, I'm so excited to have you here, Fatou.
Thank you.
Please tell me, am I saying your first name correctly?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay. Good. Thank God. Okay, so if you're just joining us, please say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And also, because we're going to be looking at some of this food, let us know if you've had some of this food, okay? So I just want to read something that comes right off your website before we start sharing here. And it's a beautiful website, Akadi PDX. It's part of the story. And I want to say some of the food that you're cooking over there, it's mostly from West Africa, Ivory Coast. And the name for Ivory Coast that I learned from you when we talked is Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire. So if you hear Fatou saying that, she's talking about Ivory Coast, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. So this food comes from Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Ghana, Mali, and Burkina Faso.
Nigeria,
And Nigeria. Yeah. And she learned growing up with her mom and grandma and aunts. She learned a lot about the African cuisine. As a teenager, she would visit her grandmother in Bobo Dioulasso.
Bobo Dioulasso, yes.
Bobo Dioulasso, Burkina Faso, where she showed her how to cook in clay ovens, wood fire, and traditional spices made from scratch. That's one of the reasons it's so good. The ultimate goal, and I think this is so very important and maybe getting a little rare in the world of restaurants, is what's so important, and the ultimate goal is to authentically represent West African culture through food, music, and ambiance. Akadi was built to mimic the ambiance and community gathering that I grew up in experiencing back on the Ivory Coast. And I think it's so important that she's saying this because I think that there's this sort of this tendency when cooking food in the restaurant business is to sort of acquiesce to the customers, and that's not happening at Akadi.
No.
And that's what makes it very unique, and especially in Portland, where we don't really have a lot of African food.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have any restaurants that do West African food. I think you're the only one.
No.
Wow.
I know.
All right. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. So, Fatou, tell me, before I start bringing up these pictures, what is your own favorite dish?
Hands down, the national dish of Cote d'Ivoire, of course, is the acheke poisson.
I take
Um,
that poisson.
yes, and for the traditional stews, I'm gonna go with cassava leaves. It's one of my favorite.
I still haven't done that. And I think there's actually a picture of this. I haven't
Yes,
tasted that yet. I'm slowly working my way through your menu.
it's a big menu. You
It
get
really is. And you started, let's see, how do I do this the best way? I think that was the best way. I think this
yes.
is the best way. So you've been cooking this way your entire life.
Yep, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so one of the things I asked you on the phone was, have you ever thought about doing anything else
Ha,
besides cooking?
that's what I was saying too. I don't think so. You know, this is my passion, and I feel like we have so much more to offer that we haven't got to that level yet. Maybe when we reach the 100% capacity of what West African food have to offer, then maybe I'll look into something else. But for
Yes.
now, we're on this journey to really teach people about, like I said on the website, really well representing West Africa, the food, the culture, the music, and everything that comes with West Africa. And I want it done authentically. And there's a lot more work we need to do. And Akadi honestly was created to do that job. And I don't think we have done even 30% of that yet. So there's still a lot more that is coming out of Akadi. So I think my energy is focused on that for now. Yes.
Yeah. And I feel that, I mean, right now in times of COVID, I
Yeah.
can't go in and sit down, and I'll bring up these food pictures again in a minute. But,
Uh-huh.
when I would go and sit down, where's the restaurant located? Akadi. I'll put the address in just a moment here. Um,
Yes.
but, I felt that when I walked in. I think you might have been playing Fatou Dairara or somebody or
Oh
some
yeah.
some
Uh-huh.
West African. There's always West African sound and music,
Yes.
and
Music
the inside
playing.
it does feel like a home.
Ah.
And I feel like when I was just in West Africa about a year ago,
Uh-huh.
and when I was there, it was the first time that I had been uh, exposed to West African food.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting experience for me because here I am as somebody who is of African descent,
Yes.
and I had just never, I had Ethiopian food before, that's East
Yeah.
African,
Right.
but I just never had it before. And so to discover this type of stewing and this type of cooking with the fish and especially with like with the goat and the
Yeah. Right.
lamb, that
Yes.
stuff is reflected in my family. Like my parents are from New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
They have like gumbo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
That's
I guess I just didn't realize that was also, a part of like what was in my blood.
yeah. The first time I remember when I moved here, the first time I ate gumbo, I thought to myself, wow, this is okra. Basically the okra stew, the same version of okra stew. And I can see that when people were brought here to this land, they brought a lot of those recipe with them. And when they had nothing else to cook, they cook all this food that they knew. And the gumbo reflect that, the jambalaya reflect all of those things. A lot of African American food reflect lots of West African dishes. You can see it if you know the West African cuisine at least. Yeah.
How would you say, like, I want to talk about fufu, but we'll get into that in a minute.
You are a fufu lover, right?
That is how I found Akadi, by the way.
Looking for
is
fufu.
Fufu. I was looking for fufu. For those of you who don't know, I'm looking for a picture right now. Hold on. This is how I found fufu. I saw it. Okay, so I saw it in a movie. I was watching like a Nigerian rom-com, and this
Yeah.
old man was sitting there, and he's like yelling at his son while he's eating, and he like has the fufu, and he's just doing this with the
This
fufu, and
right.
he's like, he's like, And he dipped it and he's like playing with it as he's yelling at his son. And I'm like, what is that? Because I love anything dough, anything that is
Really?
dough consistency.
Yeah.
You know, and then my friend was like, that's fufu. He's like third generation. He's like, yeah, we do that in my house all the time. And I couldn't find it, and I forgot about it. And then I found out about Akadi. And I was like, now here it is. Fufu is right here.
Yes.
This is fufu. Tell us about fufu.
Oh my gosh, fufu! I saw on one of your video on your Instagram, or was it Facebook, where they were pounding the fufu.
Yes,
and I meant to ask you, which country did you go to that were doing that?
That was Ghana.
That was Ghana, right? So that specific one is called futu. So there's there's so many different versions of fufu. It's a staple. It's like the same way Middle Eastern eat the dishes with bread. Fufu is like our bread. It goes with everything pretty much, you know. And there's so many different ways of doing it. The specific one that I saw in your video was plantain, cassava, and it's all pounded until you get that elasticity, you know, in it. And then there's another version that's just plantain with palm oil and cayenne pepper. That's the one actually we call fufu in Ivory Coast. And then the one I'm making at the
the one at Ivory Coast has pepper in it.
It have pepper and it have palm oil. That's our fufu traditionally in Ivory Coast. The one that I'm making is the Nigerian version and the Burkina Faso version of fufu, and also Mali. Yeah, so they use pounded yam or yellow corn or sorghum or gari or dry cassava. So like there's 1,000 ways of making fufu, but the main ingredient is always you choose your starchy food and then you add hot water to it. Either mix it by hand by beating it or pound it in a mortar. So pretty simple dish.
Simple, and yet it's so comforting.
It is.
You know, I brought my friend there who is Jewish, and this was a couple years ago, and she was like, oh, this, like, you know, what I see traditionally is people using it to, you know, eat with. But for her, I just saw her rip it apart, put it in balls, and throw it in her soup. And she's like, it's just like matzo ball soup. It reminds me of home. And I was like, oh, this is that connection. You know, starchy food is sort of that like the food that fills us the most. And gives us that sort of quick, good feeling. Yeah. And so that's what I feel when I eat fufu is just this very like this very quick, satisfactory feeling.
Yeah.
Ooh, tell us about this. Is this one of the dishes that you were talking about, a loco poisson?
Yeah. So this one is a loco poisson, and that's also another national dish of Cote d'Ivoire. One of my favorite, again, grilled fish or fried fish, and you put some onion, tomato, relish, and it's served with some spicy, savory sauce on the side with either the cassava couscous. This one is acheke. That's my favorite. So acheke is basically the second side dish that is very popular in Ivory Coast, and it's basically fermented cassava couscous, and we eat it like rice. It's the equivalent for rice to Ivorians. Yeah. So some kind of fish, chicken, seafood, then you steam your cassava couscous. It's always accompanied with some relish made with onion, tomatoes, cucumbers, and some vinaigrette and a side of hot pepper sauce, you know, always.
So when you were so you spent most of your younger life in Burkina Faso, correct?
Yes, visiting my grandma and learning how to cook pretty much.
So when you were gathering ingredients and stuff, were you, I mean, it depends on, you know, how and where you were living, but what I noticed in the place, I was in Benin, Ghana, and also Togo. And, you know, I saw a wide range of, you know, being able to go directly to the supermarket and also kind of like living really far away and only buying from specific people in your spiritual family stuff going on. And so when you were sort of gathering ingredients when you were there in Burkina Faso, what did that look like?
I mean, it's the same way as in Cote d'Ivoire. There's those local market that look like the farmers market here in the U.S. You
Uh-huh.
just have your basket. Go early in the morning to get the freshest of the beet and the veggies, and the ladies will always lay it out, on some kind of fabric, and then you just pick your vegetables. So it was very. I I think I love that part more than even the cooking part, because it was getting
Really?
to, yeah, it was, you get to bargain and talk to the ladies selling the food, because mainly the ladies who are selling the veggies and the men are doing the meat and the seafood, right? So you get to talk to them, and if you get a favorite, you always get the best veggies. So I just love it. I love charming them and getting the best of everything. The butcher will have his favorite lady where he will keep the best fresh cut for her. So you have to try to get to them and get on the good side, and bring them some treats sometimes. So I really enjoy that part of the whole, experience of cooking more than the cooking itself. Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's a part that you might not necessarily experience here.
Yeah, yes. That's the one I miss the most.
Yeah. Here you go up to the supermarket.
Yeah, I know, and that's unfortunate because you don't get to, in Africa, you get to connect with the food because you're touching them, you're feeling it, you're trying to see which one would be best for your meal. You don't just pick whatever is packaged and just put it in your bag and go. It's a whole process of going through the market, talking to the
Yes.
people, conversing with them, checking on the family too.
Hmm.
um Same, yeah. I missed that process, and I wished farmers market were way more available in every neighborhood, more than supermarkets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll all take a trip with you
That would be great. That would be awesome.
next year, 2021.
I know,
We're
right?
going on a trip to Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso, and we are
Oh
all going to
man, that
be
would be
Fatou sous
amazing.
chefs. So was there anything that your family would cook that was like, okay, this is gonna heal you? Was there anything um that you might even cook now that's like this meal is for this
Oh
thing?
my God, so many, especially in Burkina Faso. My grandma was into, because my grandpa was a healer, before he passed
Ah,
away. So everything she cooked was based on like healing something. And her dishes was so hard for me to eat growing up because it wasn't so much about the flavor, it was more about the nutritional value of it. And not all of it will be tasty, yummy, so some of them will be very difficult to swallow. And in Burkina Faso, one of the favorite dish, I don't know the name in English, but it's those little worms that have stripes on them, and they grow. I mean, they all walk on the tree, and my grandma just pick a bunch of them, and then you dry them, and when they dry, they make a stew with cassava leaves, potato leaves, and sorghum leaves. A lot of leaves they cook it with, but that one she always cook it around the raining season, because we only got
uh-huh.
2 seasons, and
Yeah.
to avoid le palu. How do you say that in English? Ooh, there's some word I'm forgetting in English. Malaria, to heal, to
Oh,
to to basically, it's like a preventive soup she make so that you won't catch that during that time, because in the raining season that's when all the mosquitoes come out, so you're more,
yes.
you know exposed to that. And then the ginger juice, which I serve at the restaurant, and the hibiscus,
What?
yeah, I know. The
I
ginger
didn't
was
know that.
mainly, yeah, when you have the cold, she used to brew that, and serve it to us hot. And then the hibiscus, when for the women, if you're done with your period and all that stuff, to replenish the blood, she will also brew that and we'll drink it. So yeah, she had a lot of stews she would make for healing process purposes. Yeah.
I seriously could live on healing stews. If I mean, I feel like, and it's probably because I grew up with gumbo.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Dima, my partner in Africa Week 2020 here is saying spell it. Which one do you want her to spell? Because she just mentioned a lot of stuff.
I know.
She said, hold on. Karkadie. What do you call your hibiscus in your language?
Oh, bisap.
Bisap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's saying in Senegal it's bisap. Yeah.
Yeah, bisap.
I mean,
yeah.
it has that like zingy taste.
Yes.
I've never thought about mixing hibiscus with ginger, although I know that I have a promise from my partner Dima here, who is supposed to send me some hibiscus. So maybe I'll be able to make this for myself pretty soon.
There you go.
So please tell me now. This is my favorite dish at Akadi. I don't see a picture of it here. Maybe I have a picture of it that I can pull up. Shosho.
Oh my gosh. That's my mom's favorite meal to make, especially when she's feeling lazy and she doesn't want to make any stew. She used to just make her dish? Oh my God, that's a lazy dish for my mom. My mom loved her shosho. Oh my goodness, she loved that shosho. She used to make it probably, I don't know, every weekend, and we eat it with some French bread because it just tasted better with the caramelized onion and the tomatoes in there.
Yes.
And during Ramadan also, she always made it during Ramadan. So I just
really.
Yes. Yeah. That's the
shosho. I mean, it really is simple. You know, there's not like a ton of stuff going on, but there's something about the acidity of the sauce and the sort of like calm. I don't know. I'm not a cook, so I don't know all the terminology, but like the beans are just kind of neutral. You know, they don't have a whole. They don't have a lot of taste, and so this with the fufu is my staple. Like I think I probably ordered this like every other day when we did our last event in May. It's just like. I feel like this is where I live is shosho. This is my staple right here.
Well, my mom will love you for it because we used to hate that she made it so much. We're
really?
like, oh my God, we have to eat shosho again? Come on, give us something else.
Well, you know, for us and our family, it was and I can't, my stomach literally can't tolerate it anymore, but it's red beans and rice.
Oh, really?
That's the one that my parents would always, my mom would always have, would always have red beans and rice and gumbo on standby.
Oh
it
man,
would make a whole bunch of it, and then they'd freeze it. They'd have enough for like, they'd freeze it so many times over that we'd have enough for like a week of just eating that.
Wow.
And so now, like, when they're like, do you want red beans and rice or do you want gumbo? My answer is usually no, because I spent so much time
eating it, right? Yeah. I know when I go back home, I'm always so excited that my mom make me all these dishes that I used to take for granted because I was in there, I was eating it every day, and I wanted burger, I wanted pizza, you know, because those were foreign to us, you know. But when I moved here, I was, oh my goodness, if only I knew.
Only you knew. So I want to talk about meat because this is an interesting story. When I went to West Africa last year, I was practicing vegan. And when I sat down at the table with my family and I told them I was vegan, and the look was just like,
what? Like what?
And
especially
you know,
West Africa, right?
What I have noticed about West Africa, West African people do not hide how they feel about you.
Oh,
and
no.
There's no hiding. And so they all like, but it was like, you know, like when the record scratches in a movie, it's like, and they had like all this beautiful fried rabbit on the table and like a goat
my God,
and like banku and all this stuff. And I found out very quickly, like I just wasn't gonna be. And also turns out that if I eat stuff like if I eat goat and lamb, it actually makes me feel more whole anyway. So
Oh, really?
I had to find that about myself. But what I just discovered at Akadi, I'm gonna share this now. This is the goat, but
Yes, that's the goat
there we
stew.
go.
We have the
This
lamb
is the goat
version too that
stew.
you love so much.
Yes, but I just recently tried the lamb stew, and I wonder about this because it takes like for the kind of tenderness that you get, it takes a while to cook it down.
It does overnight.
So you're
Overnight.
cooking in Akadi overnight sometimes.
So I put it in there in the oven on really low so that I can just make sure I'm not. It's a risk, I know. It's like a lot of people are like, why would you leave the oven on overnight? But I'm used to that. Back home, that's what we do. We just keep it on
Yes.
the stove overnight. So that's how my mom used to cook it during Ramadan when we're slaughtering a goat or a lamb for the celebration of Eid, of course. Then we just wrap it in those cheesecloth kind of stuff, and then wrap it in some kind of foil looking like stuff, and then put it underground overnight so that it's really soft. But since I don't have that same equipment here in the US,
Yes.
so I just put it in the oven overnight on really low. So when I come back in the morning to open Akade, it's super soft. Then I can make the stew.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Right off the bone,
Yes.
friends. Let me ask you,
Uh-huh.
do you ever have people come to the restaurant and don't understand your food because it's so different than anything? Like, do you ever have
Oh,
people be like, how do I eat this?
oh, definitely, definitely. Especially with the fufu. The fufu is
Yeah.
the most hilarious thing to me. Sometimes I tell the customer, I'm like, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. But I have to show you how to eat this fufu. I mean, we, like you said, in the Nigerian movie, you see the guy just, taking the fufu. That's basically what you do. You just knead it more. When you, you
Yes.
just take it and eat it. Back when everybody keep kneading it some more, so it's more elastic, and then make a little well in the middle there so your soup can go inside. So I have to teach people
Oh, I've not done that
sometimes.
before.
I
So
mean,
you take
everybody
the
have the
fufu and
way.
make it like a bowl, and
With
then you put
one
the
hand,
in?
yes. So you scoop it with one hand. With the same hand, you're kneading it. The thumb is the part that press it, but it's done so unconsciously. For West African, it's just second nature because we eat so much of it that it became so easy. So you
Yes.
just open a well with the thumb, and then that's the part where the soup will go inside, and use it almost like a spoon, but you're eating the whole thing.
See, I don't think I love fufu, but I don't think I totally know how to eat fufu like what you just said.
But I don't. I feel like also there's no a one way of eating it,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
Nigerians call it swallow because they swallow it. They don't chew it. I always thought, what? How do you swallow it? It didn't make sense to me that they do that. But with the same people, if I have someone from Cameroon or Ivory Coast in the restaurant and someone from Nigeria, they're both eating it completely differently. Like we chew it, Nigeria swallows. We make it well, they just roll it and swallow it. So I mean, I don't think there's really a wrong way of eating it, depending on which part of West Africa you're going to.
Do you ever take the dough and turn it into anything else? Like, do you ever fry it, or is that not like a thing that you do with it?
Nah, that's another thing with cooking. I feel like growing up also that was the reason why I felt kind of restricted because your parents and your aunts and your family, they teach you how to cook one way. That's it. You don't try to be creative with things. And I wanted to be creative with stuff. And I've seen other people who are not West African fry it, use it for lasagna and all that stuff. I
No way.
haven't ventured, yeah, and I heard they said it's good. Some of them even use it for bread, the same way they replace the flour with complete fufu. And I was so amazed. I was like, wow, people are doing crazy stuff with this fufu. But
Yeah.
as Africans, I don't think we venture out, because we have these deep belief of like respecting the food the way you were taught to cook it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with like experimenting to try to get out of that comfort zone, you know, nothing wrong with that, but I haven't done that yet.
Ah, I see. Well, you have that dedication in your restaurant. I mean, you say that like I want to cook it authentically.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And that
and
was
that's what we do here.
another struggle I had in the beginning when I get any comment of like, oh, this is too much flavor for me. And when you run a business like that, you want to keep things authentic. Sometimes it kind of almost make you want to whitewash things down
Huh?
to
Yeah.
fit the customers. But then I, in the beginning, when I started getting down that road, I thought to myself, oh man, no, that would not, it just doesn't feel right. I'm just gonna cook it the way I was taught to cook it, the way I grew up eating it, because that was the goal from the beginning. So any other thing would not be representing this food the right way. And especially because I'm the only one, everybody is counting on Akadi to really represent that culture that we don't have here in Oregon. So being the only one is kind of difficult to misrepresent it and try to do something else. So that's why I'm trying to stay authentic as much as possible, so that if other people enter in this market, you know, that is so niche, then they can try to venture out and do other things. But at least people know they can always come back to the source and have the authenticity that they're looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that dedication. It's
Yeah.
important, and I feel it, and I think that is one of the big reasons, besides how amazing the food is, that
Cheers.
is that dedication, you know, to the authenticity is important. I think it's also something that as we go through this world and in this life, people are looking for who they are, and people,
Yeah,
even if it's like a white person in your restaurant, they are affected too by this sort of thing that's going on in the world of just coming
that's
back
right.
to what is the old ways and
Yeah,
the,
that's
the
right.
original ways. Um,
Exactly.
you
Exactly. And
know,
I want to make sure I honor that, you know, with all my customers. And I think customers have appreciated the fact that when they come back, even the ones that have traveled to Africa, and that's when I know, okay, you're doing something good. Because they always tell me, oh my God, this made me feel like I was back home where I travel. For whatever reason, they find themselves in West Africa, that when they come to Akadi, they feel like, oh my God, I'm back there. I tried this,
yes,
this tasted this way. This,
yes.
and that was the goal. And
As a
so I'm
matter of
really,
fact, when I came back,
uh-huh,
it was like 2 days later, and it
uh-huh.
was this sauce right here and this dish right
Oh,
here
yeah.
that made me feel like I was back there, because I was there for a month, and it we ate mostly like fish, and
Yes.
I tried with the goat. The goat didn't totally work for me. The lamb did, but the goat didn't totally work for me. But this right here, this exact, it was like I ordered this at your restaurant, and it was served exactly like what I experienced in especially Ghana.
Oh,
Exactly the
yes.
look, even the size of your cutting of the. I mean, it was so perfect. And okay, so we just have a few more minutes here,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to point out there's a couple things I want to point out, and that is at Akadi, the cassava sticks,
Uh-huh.
right? And then
Yes.
also these plantains right here, which
Oh,
my experiences
uh-huh.
of this
Uh-huh.
was like Caribbean, which
Oh,
is,
okay.
of course, the Caribbean is very Afrocentric, of course.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
when I eat the plantains from your restaurant, and when I eat
Mm-hmm.
the cassava sticks,
Uh-huh.
everything about the Caribbean comes up for me. Um, have you had
Oh.
people from the Caribbean just be like, "You're taking me
Oh
home
my
with this
God.
food"?
All the time. All the time. And that's the amazing thing, that we didn't realize that was gonna be the case when we opened Akadi, how diverse the customer base was going to be. And the fact that all of them would connect somehow with that food. And that
Yeah.
tells me that Africans have traveled far. We have traveled far. We have had impact on almost every other culture, because I have Asians coming in and eating the fish and feeling like, oh my God, this tastes like my Vietnamese mom used to make
Wow.
it, you know. Uh,
Wow.
the plantain, they would come, oh, platanos, oh my God, this tastes like the one we eat in Mexico, or cassava seed, oh my God, this tastes like what we eat in Brazil, in Dominican Republic, you know? So I hear that all the time, and it really warms my heart to see that it can really touch so many people from so many different culture from different part of the world. It's amazing.
Africa is rising and Africa is everywhere.
That's right.
We're going to end here on this cassava leaf stew, which I have to say is intimidating because it is a green, chunky stew. And it's not what we are used to here. But this is one of your favorites.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm going to end on.
It's one of the favorite at the restaurant too.
Really?
Yes, because I thought it would be so green, like you said, intimidating. It looked intimidating for sure. But the thing is, like you said, you're looking for healing stew. I feel like that's the same reason why people get attracted to this stew, because of the color. It look like greens. Greens is good for you, so people go for it, you know, and they don't regret it. This stew, definitely you have to give it a try, whether the vegan version or the regular one with some lamb, smoked fish or no smoked fish, even plain. I got many customers who come in and buy it plain. You know, they like it just like that because they have so much punch and flavor. So
wow. Fatou, this is amazing. I really appreciate you taking the time. We're so happy to have you here at Africa Week 2020. My goal would be to maybe at the end of the week, maybe if I order, I will in between, because we have these little in between times. I'm just gonna like video. I'm gonna be like, I can't. I
got some Akadi.
Come to Portland and visit. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being here with us. I know that you are super busy sharing this message and serving your customers so loyally. I'm gonna put the thing. We have somebody asking about ingredients and stuff, but we do have to go. Look, Fatou might come back if we're really confident. She might say yes again. She might say yes again.
Come on the Instagram and ask question. I'll give it to them.
Yes, come to the Instagram. I will post how to find her on Instagram right now as well.
Yes.
And she's always answering people on the Instagram there. So Marissa, who has
way more active there than Facebook. So
yes, that's where you find her, and we'll be posting more about that too. So thank you for being here. Africa Week. Thank you for listening. I hope you all go get some food right now because I'm sure everybody is hungry.
I'm close today, so please don't go there right now. Come in on Wednesday. We'll be open.
Okay, yeah. Wednesday through Sunday.
Yes. Please,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.
Okay. Bye-bye.